If you guys are anything like me, then you are sick of being tired and unfocused pretty much all of the time. I used to struggle with this problem for years, many years, and it is really the death of all joy in life. It makes even the most minute tasks in your life so very difficult. Well, I've narrowed this down to one singular skill which can completely change your life and eliminate that tiredness and lethargic feeling from your life altogether. And that one skill is sleep. Yes, sleep is a skill and you guys can master it. And today I'm going to provide you all with the tools necessary to do so. In order to master sleep, you basically need to build very good habits that will aid you in sleep later on in that night. Alongside this, you need to restrict certain habits which may interfere with your sleep quality and make it more difficult to fall asleep. But first, let's get into the sleep stages because I think it's important to understand how much sleep we actually need throughout the entire night to feel that maximum amount of rest in your next day. So sleep essentially comprises of 4 different stages. Stage 1 is a form of light sleep, which is where your body and your mind is going from that wakefulness state into more of that sleepiness state where your breathing will start to slow down and you'll just start to relax and drift off to sleep. Stage 2, however, comprises of a core body temperature drop, and this is also a form of light sleep, but it really primes your body into getting into that deeper wave of sleep, which is stage 3. In this stage, your breathing has gone down dramatically, and so has your heartbeat. Alongside this, your muscles also begin to relax completely, so there's no muscle movement whatsoever, no muscle contraction. While I do think it is important to understand the different sleep stages, I don't think it is as important as just knowing that all of these stages combined comprise of 90 minutes of total sleep duration. And the cycle actually repeats until you wake up. So waking up at the end of these sleep stages is going to be the best bet for the most feeling of restfulness and wakefulness. So whenever you can wake up at the end of a 90-minute or the 4-stage sleep cycle, you're going to feel the most rested. So we should try to aim for those certain intervals where the sleep stages end. That happens every 90 minutes. So it happens at 1.5 hours, 3 hours, 4.5 hours, 6 hours, 7.5 hours, and 9 hours. So if you guys can wake up around those time frames, you are going to feel much better. Next up, I'd like to discuss circadian rhythm, which is just your body's internal clock. If you guys are synced up with your internal clock, your mood, your mental clarity, your productivity, your focus and everything, your energy levels specifically, they're all going to be heightened. You are going to feel so much better if you are in line with this internal circadian rhythm clock. But how do we figure that out? Well, you can figure that out through assessing your chronotype. Your chronotype is basically whether you are an early riser, a afternoon riser, a late riser. There's 4 different main chronotypes, and you can take this test online. It's a simple test. There are many different versions of it, but they will all give you kind of a rough outcome of when you should be going to sleep and waking up. When you become aligned with your chronotype, then everything in life is going to become much better. So after you figure out that chronotype, try to go to bed around the same time each night and wake up at the same time each morning. If your schedule is constantly flip-flopping, then it's hard for your body to maintain homeostasis, maintain that equilibrium, and it is very challenging for you to just feel your best each and every day when your body is constantly fighting against itself. So please do yourselves a favor, pick a time according to your chronotype, and stick to that schedule each and every day to the best of your ability. Of course, life is going to get in the way. here and there, and you're not going to be able to have a perfect night's circadian rhythm, chronotype rest each and every night and day. But if you guys do your best and at least hit the mark more frequent than not, then I promise that your life is going to be much, much better as a whole. In fact, if there's anything that you take out of this video, I want you to take out meeting the circadian rhythm deadlines and trying to be in accordance with your sleep stages. If you guys can master those two rules, then you are like 70 or 80% of the way there. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene is basically what you are doing before bed, what your bedtime circumstances are that allow you to drift off into sleep. Some things that I follow by religiously, or at least I try to most of the time, are just a few different rules. First of all, I try not to eat or drink too much water at least a couple hours before bed. The reason for this on the food side is that when your body is digesting food, it is inherently awake. Your body cannot actually completely fall asleep while it is still doing mechanical and digestive processes like that. On the side of the water, if you drink too much water before bed, then you are going to be constantly having to go pee throughout the night. And guess what? When you have to go pee, your body and your brain have to wake up to go to the bathroom. So that is just creating irregular structure in your sleeping patterns. Additionally, you should avoid bright lights before bed. In fact, if you can avoid all lights altogether, that is probably ideal. Bright lights, of course, suppress the hormone of melatonin to be released from the pineal gland, and melatonin is commonly termed the hormone of darkness. In fact, melatonin is all but required to fall asleep. So when you're constantly being bombarded by bright lights throughout the night, then it is very, very difficult for the hormone of melatonin to do its thing. In fact, I like to have some blackout curtains. I keep the room completely dark. I don't like any lights in the room whatsoever. And this secures the fact that I'm not going to be woken up by lights. Additionally, eliminating anything that will wake you up throughout the night is a great idea. So if there are any noises that could occur, if you can get rid of those, that would be great. And lastly, you need your room to be around 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. The reason for this is because your core body temperature has to decrease in order for you to fall asleep. So if you can use an outside source like just cooling your room manually, then that can just help your body drift off to sleep all that much more easier. I think that it's a great idea to build habits which aid in sleep. These include things like exercise. If you are exercising throughout the day, no matter the time, it is going to wear you out and make you more tired when it is time to go to bed. I also like to use the sauna most days because the sauna can also aid in sleep. It is a fantastic way for your body to relax and help you drift off to sleep later on in that night. If you can do it closer to bedtime, that is even better. Additionally, things like breath work and meditation can help you clear your mind and get into that more parasympathetic mode of the nervous system, which is your rest and digest wing of the nervous system, which can help you fall asleep as well. And lastly, viewing morning sunlight or just sunlight at any time of day is a great idea for being able to fall asleep as well. This will help you regulate your circadian rhythm, which I talked about earlier as being one of, if not the most important single variable for increasing your sleep quality and quantity. So if you guys can view that morning sunlight or just sunlight throughout your entire day, that is going to boost your circadian rhythm, really anchor it down where it needs to be. You guys should also be restricting habits which may impair sleep. This includes things like alcohol and caffeine. Now, I like to indulge in a drink here and there as much as the next guy, and I love caffeine just like 99% of the world. It is the most used substance on the planet for a reason. But if you have either of these substances too close to your bedtime hours, then it will impair your sleep, even if you don't think that it is. It will on a physiological level. So the best way to avoid this is to restrict those two substances anywhere between 8 and 12 hours before you are planning to go to bed, just for the best, safest results. Okay, we covered a lot in this video, so let me briefly recap just the bullet points of what we talked about. Well, we started with sleep stages and the reasoning why you should try and wake up on the 90 minutes after each of the 4 sleep stages occurs. We talked about your chronotypes, finding your chronotypes, taking an online test, and additionally, the reason why circadian rhythm and having a schedule is so very important. Next up, we talked about sleep hygiene, and just to name a few, we talked about eliminating light, loud noises, not eating or drinking too close to bedtime, and a bit more. After that, we talked about building good habits like an exercise routine, maybe a meditation routine, hitting the sauna, stuff like that. And last but not least, we talked about restricting some things that may cause sleeping problems like caffeine and alcohol use. So thank you guys very much for watching. And guys, I know I said it before, but I promise that if you implement all these things, even just the circadian rhythm one, then that will nearly, if not completely, eliminate your tiredness completely during your daytime hours. So good luck forming your toolkit for sleep. Good luck mastering your sleep. Have a good day.